Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have a Porsche 718 Cayman GT4. And I'm going to tell you why this is one of the best sports cars on the market today. We're going to go over the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, take it for a drive. So if this is content you're after, or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. All right, guys, here we are with the exterior of the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4. Now, where do we begin? Let's talk about this specific car, because when you're talking about a Porsche, there's obviously lots of customization, and really, I mean, you can choose just about whatever you want. And so this car here is highly customized. So when this car launched, it was just under 100 grand base price. This particular car, on top of that, has close to $40,000 in options on it. So it was almost, check every box on that option list, which, apparently a lot of Porsche owners do. And that's why Porsche is one of the most profitable automakers on the planet. Now, let's talk about what makes this car unique. Obviously, it has this awesome black finish to it, but it's a matte finish on certain panels. So you'll notice that the actual hood, the bonnet here, is still in a gloss finish. So you're seeing some of the sunlight purposely being captured there. But all these other panels are matte. Now, the roof is also gloss. That kind of carries a theme from the front to the back. But the rest of the body panels will, go here, catch the whole vehicle, is matte, and it just looks so good. Now, clearly the theme of this car is black on yellow, right? So obviously there's a nice lot of little touches of yellow. There's highlights on the hood, the roof that carries to the rear, the GT4 on the side being yellow. Obviously you got the calipers in yellow. That's for a different reason. We'll talk about that here in a second. But man, this car looks so freaking good, right? And so the spec on this car is really good. It has just about every option under the sun. So yeah, you can see it, the huge wing and back. Yeah, race car, right? And obviously the exhaust, and the kind of black chrome just looks so good. The GT4 badge actually in black as well underneath the Porsche. So it's really cool, again, that you can customize everything about this car. So let's talk about some of the specs and details that you're going to get with this car. So right off the bat, you'll notice that it has a very awesome wheel and tire package. The cool thing is that it comes with these Cup 2 tires, right? Michelin Cup 2 tires. So straight up track tires. I mean, if I get close, you can actually see that it's picking up every little pebble possible, right? Because that's how sticky these tires are. Now, up front, we have 20-inch wheels. These are 245 35 ZR20s, okay? And you can see how big the brake system is behind it. I mean, the rotors are like 16 inches. They almost fill the entire inside diameter of the wheel, which is just crazy. Now this car, obviously, as you can see, is optioned with what they call PCCB, so Porsche Ceramic Composite Brake. So basically carbon ceramic brakes. So again, straight up race car, right? So massive 6-piston calipers up front. All they say is Porsche. I think that's a really nice touch. Doesn't say, any other manufacturer or supplier name. It just says Porsche, because that's what you're dealing with here. So again, you got kind of more narrow tires up front, but as we go to the rear, all of a sudden you'll see that you got these mega wide. I mean, it's laughable, right? These are 295 30 ZR 20-inch wheels and tires. And again, even in the back, the brakes, I mean, you can see the caliper is like, a half inch from the inside of the wheel, because again, these are like 15-inch rotors, 4-piston, brakes in the back. So, I mean, this thing stops on a dime, and you'll definitely see that when we go for a drive today. So, like I said, this car has so many options that really extend to the interior of the vehicle as well. So real quick, just down low, how cool is that? It says GT4 on the front lip. This car is very low, so you have to be careful going in and out of driveways and parking lots and stuff like that. It is very easy to scrape that front end if you're not careful. So I've been pretty good about it. But yeah, like I said, this car just looks amazing. So let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, here we are inside the GT4, and we'll start with the door panels here. Again, you can see that there is all kinds of yellow contrast stitching, Alcantara, carbon fiber. All of the most premium materials you could buy are in this car. But at the same time, you just got to love how Porsche offers these like grab handles, right? So that's literally just a pull strap, and it's, you got to get used to it. You actually pull on it pretty hard, and then the door basically pops open. But from the GT4 carbon side sill, just looks so good. And I mean, inside again, this car has every option I think possible, right? Yellow seat belts, which Porsche charges you an arm and leg just to change the color of the seat belts, right? But this one has the full bucket seat option, and so I'm gonna let you guys guess if you don't already know. Tell us down in the comments below, how much do you think these seats cost? Because they are not cheap. But I mean, you can see from the back, they're full carbon fiber bucket seats, and no, they are not adjustable, right? You can see this is basically all one piece. So getting in and out is kind of a circus act. You kind of have to fall in, put your butt in first and kind of swing around, because once you're in these things, you are in. But you can see the carbon package carries on to the dash. This particular car has the Alcantara steering wheel with yellow stitching and the yellow center mark at the top. So that's actually an option you have to pay for. This particular car, God bless, has a 6-speed manual transmission, not the 7-speed like the 911 and other cars have. It's just such a joy to drive. Again, let me save that for the drive component, but you can already know where I'm going with it, because the manual is fantastic. This car also has the Sport Chrono package with the dial in red, as well as the gauges in front of you in red. And yes, they say GT4 there in the center, but we'll capture a little bit more of that during the drive. Again, these bucket seats have GT4 in the headrest in yellow. Looks amazing. And again, it wouldn't be a race car, guys, without your own fire extinguisher, right? Let's hope we don't have to use that today, or that at any point we don't have to use that. But I mean, how cool is it that it actually comes with that, right? This is how high performance, and hey, you just never know what's going to happen. So again, there's the interior. Again, the tech in this car, like I said, is surprisingly good. We're going to talk about that next when I plop inside. But yeah, this car is just so cool. So let's go ahead and get right in front, and we'll talk about some more features. Here you guys go. You can get a better view of the gauges right there in front of you. They were optioned to be in that red background with the white lettering. Look really, really good. You got that central RPM gauge right in front of you, smack dead in the center. That 200 mile per hour gauge off to the left for your speed, and then your customizable gauge to the right, which again, you can see it has that cool GT4 logo, but it also displays, all kinds of audio information, your maps. It's really cool that Porsche has like a blend of analog and digital in here. Again, you see that Sport Chrono clock over there, that gauge, basically your lap timer. It's really cool that they're all the same color. You can mix and match if you really wanted to, but I like that all of them are the same color. So great option there. You can see, again, the stitching carries down all over the place. The seats, the console, the wheel, the shift boot, Alcantara carbon fiber stitching just everywhere. So yeah, again, this car is really, really good because it has a lot of good functionality. Again, a lot of good updates for connectivity. Again, CarPlay for me, when I plugged in, pretty much started up right away. I didn't even have to go through like any kind of setup process. So props to Porsche on a really good infotainment system here. And yeah, so again, before we get to the driving part, let's go ahead, take a look at where the engine bay is. Let's take a look at the front real quick, and then we'll get on the road. All right, so we have the hood up here, and yes, it does have a frunk. Those that aren't familiar with Porsche, that is a pretty common thing, because usually you got the engine in the back of the vehicle. In this case, it's in the middle, right? Midship engine layout here. But I mean, it's amazing how much space is in here, and like, really cool that there's this, Porsche bin in here. So I'd say you could probably fit, you know, at least one good mid-size suitcase in here, which is amazing, given that again this car is basically a race car. So to be able to have that flexibility is really really cool. So this is the front frunk, and again with this being a mid-engine car, there's actually space in the rear as well. So we're gonna swing around, right? So that's the front. And as we come to the rear here, look at this. There's actually more space back here. Now, you don't get the glory of an engine bay, or, you know, you don't actually get to see where the magic happens. So it's kind of covered up there. But, you know, you basically do have another trunk back here. And there's a, you know, a little Porsche net, which is nice. You can put your detailing, you know, items in here, and really just again you could probably fit a very small backpack or briefcase back here. But again, the fact that you got this extra, you know, functionality and usability in your weekend toy and race car really just makes this car even better. So I think we've covered that. Let's go ahead and hop inside and take this thing for a drive. All right guys, this is it. We're inside the 718 Cayman GT4 and we are about to go for a drive. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. I don't know if you guys saw me, you know, kind of squeeze into these bucket seats in here. Like I said, these are fixed. They're not adjustable. There just is what they are, and you get in and you just find a way to get comfortable. But admittedly, once you're in here, I mean, it is rather comfortable. There's not a lot of lower back support, but upper shoulder area, obviously with these bolsters here, it's really really good. So for those of you not familiar with Porsche or even a car like this, so you have a really really cool key fob. I'll show you that. Basically looks like a car, like a Porsche, and you actually insert it into the ignition. So that's still a thing. So you put that in, manual, so clutch in, and then you turn it, and now it's on, and it sounds real good. So throw it into neutral. I'm gonna grab, it's a little hard, I'm gonna grab the seat belts here. So fantastic, right? Yellow seat belts, okay? So can't beat that. Just my climate control. Like I said, it's really cool that this car has, you know, essentially all your daily creature comforts, right? You know, automatic climate. Again, the system, the screen here, the graphics are good. There is CarPlay, which is really nice. But before we get started, down here in the center, there's a couple key buttons I gotta push. So one, there's a button called auto blip, so that's to blip the throttle, basically auto rev match, so I just push that. There's a button that looks like the exhaust, that's for the sport exhaust, so I'm definitely pushing that. Wow, I don't know if you, if you heard that change right away. Maybe along the drive I'll turn it on and off, but that was instantly noticeable as far as I'm concerned. And then the last button that I'm going to push down here is actually your idle stop off. So turning that off. I don't want that on while I'm driving. So you do have an electronic parking brake. You pull, release that. And with that, I'm going to take off. Now, again, like I said, this is a 6-speed manual. It's your really, really awesome powertrain here, guys. Even before I take off, I'll tell you, it's a dual overhead cam. 24 valve, you know, it's the flat 6, that boxer engine. In the GT4, it makes 414 horsepower and 309 pound-feet of torque. A lot of different magazines and journalists have tested this car. You know, 0 to 60 like 3.7, quarter mile under 12 seconds. I mean, this thing is fast. So I'm gonna behave myself, but have some fun. With that, up in the first gear, don't make the mistake, because reverse is all the way up and to the left. So, you know, obviously a lot of manuals, it's, you know, back down to the right. But with that, I'm in first gear, and now we're gonna go ahead and take off in the GT4. So right off the bat, it's really easy to drive, and I know that might sound silly, but the fact that, again, essentially this car is like a race car, to me, it means a lot. Like it, you know, getting, you know, the clutch engagement is really good. Again, Porsche makes one of the best manual transmissions in the business, if not the best. I'll give them a lot of credit for that. The gear shifts, I was just going from first to second. It's really easy. the clutch feel, and really like it's just all these things like ergonomically, like the placement of the pedals, where the shifter is to, you know, to where you're sitting, the steering wheel, it's this perfect diameter and size, and so everything just feels right in here, if that makes sense. You know, I think that just is really gonna, you know, lend to the whole driving experience. But today we're gonna go up a road, for those in SoCal, I'm sure you're familiar with it. So we're gonna go up Ortega, you know, highway, if you want to call it. It's a really good driving route. I think you guys will really enjoy this road. Hopefully get to you know, have some fun and let you guys hear what this car sounds like, because this car is naturally aspirated, right? So in an era of turbocharged engines and things like that, to have a naturally aspirated engine is truly refreshing, because this thing red lines at 8,100 RPM. It's really crazy to hear you actually wind out to that level of speed. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and see what it sounds like here and what it's like to drive. So taking off in first gear. Yeah, super easy to, you know, shift gears. Go for it a little bit. All right, guys, that was only up to like, you know, 7,200 RPM. I didn't even take it to full red line. I gotta watch, you know, for cars in front of me, but oh my god, it's crazy. And what's really cool is, like, in the tack right in front of you is the fact that it actually shows you what gear you're in, which is nice. You know, while you're driving, you want to be focused. So I'm in third gear, so it tells you your speed right there digitally, tells you what gear you're in. And yeah, I mean, this car sounds amazing. And here's the auto blip, right? It really does feel like you're in a race car. So I'm in second gear pull, which is crazy because this car will go. I mean, I can't even tell you the speed I'm going. And that's in the second gear. So the car has really, like, you know, like Tom Gary, like you're in a, I think it can go up to like almost 82 in second gear. So, you know, you may not do a lot of, you know, switching, but you won't want to, because you're just gonna rev out. You're just gonna, I mean, it really does look, feel, and more importantly, sound like a race car. I mean, and let's just talk about the ride, right? So I'm gonna switch it in gear, so hopefully you can hear me over that monstrous engine. But yeah, just the way it drives is incredible. I mean, I told you earlier, you know, we're riding on 20s at all four corners. Again, the front wheels are a little bit more narrow than the ones out back. You know, it's got, you know, most of the weight distribution is towards the rear. So, but the way this thing rides, you would think that this would be like, oh, I'm hitting every bump. You'd have this big jarring experience and it would be backbreaking, but it is not at all. It is, you're gonna kill me here. I would say this feels like any normal car, if not even leaning towards the, like, the premium luxury side of things. Like, it is perfectly compliant. That, you know, obviously I'm going to talk about how good the engine is, the clutch, the feel, but for me, right off the bat, the suspension, I mean, hey, you know, if I could clap right now, I would. So congrats to the engineers and people at Porsche, because this is some of the best chassis and suspension tuning I think you could buy. This is absolutely incredible. The bucket seats, like I said, admittedly, it kind of, like I said, it forces you to have your hands at a certain position on the wheel, given where the shoulder bolsters are. It always kind of keeps your arms very close together, very close to the steering wheel. So it very much, I mean, again, it's a GT4, right? So it very much feels like a race car, right? So those are the first two things I noticed. The second thing is, like I said, just the shifter around town is really, really good. I'm cruising along at fifth gear here. Switching to six was like butter. It was absolutely nothing. The clutch engagement, everything was effortless. But again, that's not why you buy this car. You buy this car to truly enjoy it. So I got to give myself some space here with traffic. But as I'm even just downshifting, right? Admittedly, I have the auto blip on, and I could hit that button really easily. So I like that it's a button here that you can just push in a switch to turn it off. But the way the pedals are placed, it's perfect positioning that I really feel like I could just heel and toe. And I haven't been driving this car a long time, guys. I've only been driving it really for this video, and so I didn't have a lot of experience, but everything feels instantly like familiar and recognizable. So with that, let's do another pull here. I'm in second gear, and we're gonna try to see if we can wind it out. So are you guys ready? Here we go. Okay, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. I'm just gonna leave it up at the high end of the rev range and then go all the way. That was 8,100 RPM, guys. It sounds incredible. It is literally a race car. So, I mean, again, if you own this car, if you know someone that owns this car, definitely have them take you for a ride. If they're crazy enough to let you drive it, let them, please, beg them. Also, one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was the brakes. Like I showed you outside, these are the PCCB, so the Porsche ceramic composite brakes. So carbon ceramics, 6 piston up front, 4 piston in the rear. Let's just show you really quick. I gotta be careful on public roads, right? But I'm gonna show you what it's like to stop. So gain some speed here. But I mean, just it stops on a dime, and the way it stops is awesome. It's very progressive. It gives you confidence, right? You didn't feel any kind of ABS or anything like, you know, going off. There's just so much power with the mechanical braking system that it just brings you to a stop. And I can imagine on a track, lap after lap, fade free, you could just stop on a dime, which is amazing, right? I mean, that's why you pay for those brakes. They are a super expensive option. Tell us down in the comments below, how much do you think those PCCB brakes cost, and would you actually pay for them? I mean, obviously I haven't driven this car with a standard steel brake, so I can't speak to that, but after driving with these, as expensive as they are and as expensive as this car is, I feel like you're just gonna get them and you wouldn't be disappointed. The other last thing I'll say about them is there's been no squeal or squeaking from the brakes at all, which is awesome, because that sometimes is a characteristic of, you know, carbon ceramic brakes, is like, you know, they give you that, you know, nails on a chalkboard type of sound. I haven't heard that from this car at all. It's just such a joy to drive, and that is an example of the braking power in this car. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I mean, it truly is amazing what Porsche has done here to be able to create a race car, a car like this for the street. Kudos to them. I hope I can definitely review some other Porsches. There's a good chance I can get a Cayman GTS 4.0, right? Not a GT4, basically the more kind of touring version of this car. So definitely, if we can get that on the channel, that'll be great now to have some reference against something as hardcore as the GT4. So let us know down in the comments, is that what you're more looking for? Something like a, you know, maybe a GTS 4.0, or are you crazy and rich and going all in for the GT4 because it sounds like this? Alright guys, I'm having way too much fun. I really hope you enjoyed this video. More stuff to come. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. All right, guys, that's a wrap. What did you think of this car? It is truly incredible. I mean, I think it's the way that, like, the suspension is very compliant. It was totally great over good pavement, but even broken pavement. Obviously, it was an animal up in the switchbacks on the canyon. So the fact that, like, you're not breaking your back is truly amazing. Now, the bucket seats, as we talked about, I mean, they're super locked in, right? You're not moving anywhere, which, again, is why this truly feels like a race car while you're driving it. So maybe it's a bit much every day, but if this is your specialty car, if this is what you're driving on the weekend, first of all, you're lucky. But second of all, you're driving definitely one of the best sports cars on the market today. So again, thanks for joining us. If you're new to the channel, again, click that bell to subscribe and definitely come back for more. And with that, we'll see you at the next episode.